But yeah, so Rick's gonna go first, and Rick came to us from California, and he was the first to arrive, so he's the first to go. He's been here the longest and learned the most, so Rick Slick.
All right, hi everybody, I'm Rick Slick. Got a couple jokes for you. Now, one of them may be a little sexist, but I don't care, I'm gonna do it anyway. I was a blonde.
We're used to it with our president, let it rip.
Okay. What's this? What's this?
It's a fish, it's a
No,
shark,
it's a whole herd of these.
it's a bees,
It's a whole herd of these.
fingers, toes.
Okay, what's this?
It's a fan, and ears,
Okay.
you're hot, you're menopause.
It's a blonde refueling.
Oh, God, get out, take it
Hey, you
outside.
said it was okay.
I did.
All right, anyway.
Fun guy.
Huh?
Oh, yes.
Okay, my name's Rick Slick, yeah. Well, I want to thank you all for coming, by the way. I appreciate you guys being here. And I want to thank Ted and Sam and Katie and Jenny and Eric and Gabe for being patient with me and in my miniature tirades that I would have occasionally, and being patient helped me calm down in this place. Because I'm kind of intense, or I was pretty intense, and I've learned to kind of calm down in terms of my teaching and how I approach problems and whatever, to get so excited. So
Oh,
I
good, maybe
appreciate
you
that.
can teach me what you've learned later.
Yeah, that would be a long process, but anyway, I started, before tennis, I was into surfing, body surfing, boogie boarding, motorcycles, baseball, church, school, study, grind, church, school, study, whatever. And then when I was 15, I started playing tennis. And I dug it, and I'm self-taught. I learned by watching professionals on TV like Borg and McEnroe and Connors, and I tried to emulate as best I could. And I would read books like Big Brain's Tennis for the Future. I read, which is about physics, logic, psychology. It's an older book, but it really holds water very well. For me, it clicked. Taught me how to hit a one-handed backhand off the book. So anyway, I also read like Inner Game of Tennis. Some of you may have heard of that. About getting out of your own way, letting things flow. It's a pretty bitchin' book. That's a surf term from the 70s and 80s. I hope that's not inappropriate. Like I said, I copy and read and learn that way, and that's what I did. So then at 17, I started competing, and at about 21 years old, I was going to Cal State Fullerton, and there was a blurb on the bulletin about a job teaching for the rec center for the city of Fullerton. And you guys don't know the area, I'm sure, but Fullerton was a big tennis area back in the day. Very popular sport in that area. So the rec department had a real interest in growing the program. And when I got there, I got hired, and when I got there was four kids in the program, no adult program at all. And then we got an opportunity to go to each school. Sometimes we'd have 4 or 5 kids. Sometimes we'd have 200 kids, captive audience in the auditorium. We'd present the program, and anyway, long story short, that's where I started for 2 years, and we had 50 kids the first day. 2 coaches and 50 kids. New to coaching, I had 25 kids on the court. It was a blast. But anyway, then a couple years after that, I did that for 2 years, and then I went to Los Caballeros, which is a big sports village in Fountain Valley, California. They had 41 courts actually, 20 indoor racquetball courts, condos on the complex, and I got an assistant pro teaching position there, and was there for about 8 years. Had a blast, watched Michael Chang come up, the Bryan brothers come up as 8-year-olds, because every year they had this big tournament called the sectional, junior sectionals. There'd be 2,000 kids coming through that facility. It was pretty cool. Lindsay Davenport, a lot of good stuff to watch them grow. And then I got a head pro opportunity at Capistrano Racquet Club in San Juan Capistrano. It was a club built, 5-court facility built in the 70s. And I was head pro there and built a program from nothing. Basically no junior program, no adult program. I had been left alone. I was able to build it up in 6 months to a relatively full program. It was a blast. Was there for 5 years. And then the club closed because the land in San Capistrano blew up. I mean, from the 70s when it was built to the 90s when I was at the end of the 90s, we couldn't keep up with the land value, the rent. We couldn't keep up with it even at full. But it's like it closed down, sold to a developer, and that was that. And then I went to the Inland Empire, taught there for a few years, then taught at Murrieta Tennis Club, and then been trying to get into management for a long time. And then I saw the ad for the director and training program on protennisjobs.com, and I was very excited about trying to reinvent myself, and that's what I did. So I was able to meet with Ted and Sam, and they kindly hired me, and gratefully participate in the program now. So that's what I've been doing, and now my goals kind of changed. I talked with Sam a little bit and I listened carefully to him. And, I was thinking about kind of doing like a McDonald's situation, try to franchise out and, you know, build a small club, get it going, and franchise and franchise and franchise. But Sam kind of talked to me a little bit. We probably didn't realize he did this, but I'm thinking I better stick with just one facility, maybe a mid larger size club, 8 to 16 courts, something like that, and try to build a program there and focus in, you know. So that's kind of where I'm headed now. I think the franchising is a good idea, but the logistics of it might be kind of difficult to succeed at. So I'm gonna redirect my focus to more of a mid to larger size club. Yeah, and then what I'm interested also in, I feel like I'm ready for like the SOS type of situations, the stable situations. I'm not really that interested in flagship. And what we did was we identified situations for clubs. SOS, it's in trouble. Stable, it's going along, but you know, no real growth. Growth, how to reinvent the facility. So we have these levels that we described and discussed. And flagship is a fully functioning club, and I'm not that interested in that. I'm more interested in growing a program, even though, you know, I'm a little older, but I still feel like I have some energy to be able to build a program. So anyway, shifting gears, what I've learned here, we've identified about 5 areas for facility management. One of them is leadership, there's staffing, there's program development, there's marketing, and then the clubhouse and the retail situation. So what I've learned, because what I was used to was managing myself. I'm a tennis pro, and when I was a head pro at Capistrano Racket Club, I had a few staff, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was just winging it. So what I've learned here about leadership from Ted and the gang, God, I'm nervous now, but anyway, the team leaders.
Tell another joke.
What, the one I'm thinking of?
Don't tell another joke. I'll break the ice. Rafa won this morning. Okay, carry on.
Rafa won?
Yeah, he's from Paris. He clinched number 1 today.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Carry on.
Dodgers won.
Dodgers won last night from game 7. No Dodgers.
So about leadership, you know, I didn't think I had learned. I was kind of hard on myself, I guess. I didn't really think I had learned that much. And then Ted pointed out, what about this? What about this? What about this? And so, you know, there's small little programs that I've been doing and leading. For example, the Beginner Round Robin, which is a transitional program from training to actual competition from a beginner standpoint, 2 to 3 level. You know, and I led that. So that was able to develop some players to go to the, from that, very beginnerish, teaching them etiquette, procedures, safety, just everything, and getting them to top dog with Brett over there. Yeah, buddy. And so that's been progressing pretty well. And then, so I was leading on that, and then we did a program template, I guess you'd call it. Like, how do you navigate as a beginner or an intermediate or an advanced player? How do you navigate the vast programs we have at Gates? So Hector and team and myself, we worked together to develop a flow chart, basically, which will be up next year as well. to be able to see that. And, you know, what does a beginner do? They go, you can do this, and progress, and then intermediate, and all the way up. So that was a leadership situation. So that helped me, and also when you're a P1, there's P1, P2, P3. If you're a P1, you're the main pro. Like let's say there's 2 or 3 courts going. If you're a P1, you gotta run the show. So I've done that a few times, and that's been some leadership experience as well. And then, so shifting gears from that, staffing, I'm learning about primarily not how to develop this, I'm going to learn how to develop a staff better. And what I've really learned here about staffing is how to get along a little bit better, I think. You know, I watch the leaders, I watch Katie do her thing when she's so calm at the desk, and really taught me a lot about, you know, being calm, and Eric and Gabe and Ted, all the guys. I mean, they just are mellow people, at least on the outside, from what I can see.
You should see him at home.
So the staffing.
Can we give applause for Katie?
Yeah. Not only is she always calm, she's always smiling.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the loud one, Brett, I gotta give him props. He's pretty- Yeah. Nothing, you missed it. Oh, and I want to mention the tournaments about leadership. We did some tournaments. Learned a lot in the tournament process. I mean, I used to do tournaments back in the day when you used to have to mail out entries to people. Now it's computerized, it's a cakewalk in a lot of ways. So, you know, but I've learned the TDM, and, you know, it's been really a good experience in that in terms of that leadership as well. And then, as far as staffing goes, I think I was mentioning, I'm learning about being calmer, and I'm expecting next year to learn how to actually hire, and in that process of training and being more involved in that. So that's a big goal for me next year. And then next thing we talk about is marketing. And what we say here is it's not real unless it's a flyer, which I mean, I don't know if that's the exact quote, but that's my quote for the day. Learn that here. You know, marketing, SEO, improving SEO and the websites, that's all part of it too. But I think the physical flyer and the communication, one-on-one communication with everybody, with people coming in, is what really builds a program. So learning about that marketing aspect of it. Word of mouth is huge. And then program development. I feel pretty confident about that. I felt, because I've done it so many times from scratch, but here it was all just rolling, and I had a couple ideas of what to do for some new programs, and I expect to implement those next year. So like a serve return clinic, and a semi and finalist clinic for, you know, only semi-finalists and finalists in 3-5, 4-0, 4-5 levels. So real exclusive, but I'll discuss that with these guys later. And then the clubhouse and retail. So the clubhouse, they're keeping it clean and inviting, learning a lot about that here. And as far as retail, I'm going to be learning a lot about how retail works. What I'm interested in is the approach to, you have a certain amount of income, a certain amount of funds available for purchase. Well, how do you apply that in a logical way, best as possible, so that you increase the chances of sales occurring, rather than having, you know, stock on hand for a year or two. And there's, I guess, I can't remember what the name of it is. It's like, if the money's on the wall, it's not flowing, there's ways to decrease the odds of that occurring. So I'm really interested in learning about that. And then, you know, then I've been talking a little bit about what I expect for next year, but it's my next topic is next year. In terms of leadership, we're going to be mentoring some of the new students. I think that's going to help a lot. They'll be forced to learn leadership rather than just, like I said, lead myself. So apparently I'll have some students underneath, and, you know, I'll learn how to help lead them in ways that they can grow and become, you know, terrific students and pros here at Gates. And so, in conclusion, so structured. I want to thank everybody I thank everybody for their, again, their patience and tolerance. You know, I guess I needed a lot of tolerance, but I'm doing a lot better and I feel a lot calmer, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I want to thank you guys for putting this together. Thank you. Questions?
I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Shocker.
One,
You get one.
no, I have
Take it a good one.
And one is there something that you've learned in this past year that maybe you could bring to the program for the second year? For your second year, or for the new people coming in next year?
I think getting out of the pro mindset, strict mindset of the pro mentality where just you're grinding it out, hours times rate of pay, getting away from that, and learning from Sam and Ted and about looking at it from an owner's eyes. So I think I'll be able to help the new students get to that owner's eyes mentality faster, because we were experimenting with how to do that and kind of feeling it out. I think I'll be able to do that with
And then
the
where do
new
you see
students next
yourself
year.
in 3 years then?
I see myself at a mid-growth club, mid-level to, like I said, 8 to 16 core facility.
California?
Possibly. I don't want to, I can tell you where I don't want to go. I don't want to go to hot and humid. Or, but I guess it
You're gonna be in air conditioning.
I know, I was just gonna say. I was just gonna say. That's the pro mentality still. I'll be inside, and I guess I shouldn't X out any opportunity that comes up. So hot and humid may not be my ideal place, but I won't be on the court as much. So I see myself where I get led.